Welcome to Flynn's Studio Podcast, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome one more time to Flynn's Studio Podcast here at the Flynn's Arcade in Margate, Florida. We are here today with a special friend. I know we have had it before in Instagram, but this is a very special time with us because today we are going to know more about the life, the goals, and the dreams of Ernesto Rumbaut. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. How are you?
Very good, and I love your hairstyle nowadays.
Oh, thank you. No, I have to cut it. It's been there for months, and I really need to cut it.
How are you dealing right now with Florida sun? Because here it's hot.
Well, I don't. I just let it do its thing, and then because I have so much going on, like as you may know.
Yeah.
I need the time to go cut it once and for all, so it's not bothering me.
Just tell me, how was your agenda this time? Because I feel like you have a lot to actually being here today. I really appreciate it because I know you have a really schedule.
For those of you who don't know, we've been at this since when was that we met?
Sunrise, yeah.
March?
Yeah.
Okay, we've been trying to do this since March, and we couldn't have done it up until now. Because a lot of things happen.
Yeah, so, well, let's start with the beginning. Now, right now, you are doing, well, your voiceovers, you're also doing the Harry Potter stuff. So how is that going? Because I love the fact that you're doing something, especially of Harry Potter.
Sure. Okay, so the Harry Potter thing, I'm not doing it right now. It's that on Twitch, I read the 7 books. Like, an interpretive reading of the 7 books, and I had a dialogue with my viewers, like, oh, this didn't happen in the movies, blah 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 blah, and then I do all the character voices, which is also an exercise for voice actors, and to practice the different characters and voices. And what I'm doing is that I'm uploading that to YouTube as like the clean chapter. Like I'm cleaning out all the different parts of like when I messed up, or like there are some mistakes in there that I couldn't really get them out in edition. But since it was done live, it's.
That's what you were saying. Like I see sometimes in your Instagram, uploaded. That means
Right.
YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay, great. And how do you give time to manage many stuff? Because here, for example, I do my Instagram sometimes, and now I'm focusing on YouTube. But if you ask me one more, I'll die.
I don't sleep. As you may look at my eye bags, I rarely sleep more than 5 hours because I have so much going on that at some point this year I plan on slowing down.
Okay, that's good.
Because you need it. You need to slow down. I took on a lot of responsibilities, which I'm happy with, but I also need to slow down.
And also, I feel like as a voice actor, actually, you have always to train your voice.
Absolutely.
So how many times per week, or how you do it once a day, how you train your voice?
Ideally, you should train once a day at least, but sometimes you don't have the time. Sometimes it's just impossible. But like, for example, if you are sitting down waiting for your coffee or something, try to read something. If not out loud, because you're not going to be like in the middle of, I don't know, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, or, el cafecito de la esquina. You're not going to be like, today, no. But try to get at least 5 minutes of reading out loud.
I'm actually trying to do that, but with singing. I know I'm not a singer, but I'm trying to, because I have a stage frightened to be a singer or just to sing in front of public.
Me too.
So I'm trying to sometimes just at least, sing a little bit in a supermarket, or trying just to, my voice not to disappear, because every time I try to sing, it comes like, even I'm taking a shower and I feel my husband is next door, and like my voice just disappears. It used to happen to you like that before?
Yep, it still happens sometimes. Not as bad, but that used
I
to
need
happen to
therapy.
me. No, it's okay. So acting is not therapy, but it's therapeutic.
Yes.
Same as singing. And I'm gonna tell you something that my singing teacher, Beto Castillo, who is the voice of Maui in Spanish, he says that you have to say it in Spanish because if not, it doesn't make sense. La canción no se canta, se cuenta. So while there's a lot of technique involved in the song, the important part of the song is that it tells a story, and you emotionally have to go through those
Feelings,
emotions.
emotions,
Exactly.
and connect with it.
And the technical part will develop. But the most important thing is to go through the feelings, convey the feelings of the song. That's going to help you relax, because a lot of one of the main things about singing is that your throat has to be relaxed, because your vocal cords are muscles, and yes, you have to train them every day, so then you can sing better, and they can get used to moving in the musical scale easier, because it's like going to the gym. You know, you go, you train your muscle, but you don't do what's the exercise? I don't know the name of the exercise. I work out, but I'm not a gym bro. At the gym, you just go like and lift it. But if when you go to lift a chair, you don't like get into position and you just lift it. But it makes it easier. Like the more you work out a muscle, the easier it is to use it. So it's the same for singing.
That's something very interesting to say. I feel like sometimes people don't respect their voices as they should, you know? And maybe also sometimes it happens when, for example, we come from Latin America.
Oh, yeah.
So we had Latin American moms. And sorry for this mom, but, you know, they could be very loud. It's
Yeah.
American mom, you know, because American moms, I feel they are so, I always say this, they are so nice. They are like, oh,
Yeah.
honey, it's okay, you will learn, blah, blah, blah. Latin American moms are like, yeah, blah, blah. And also parents.
Yeah.
That's in general. So, and sometimes I feel, because I used to train kids and help teachers of theater in everything of manage of the body, not voice, but body, that actually many of these kids come with these stories, and that's how they started thinking that their voices shouldn't be loud because they shouldn't be heard. And that's something that for many people keeps going until their adult lives. So that's why I'm saying for some people, they believe they shouldn't respect their voices as they actually have to be as an adult or as a kid even.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and for
Makes
you,
sense.
for you in that turning point when you do acting, or because you also did theater before, and maybe you had some directors that were not the nicest. How you fight back through the voice, or you're even as an actor?
Well, I mean, the directors, you got to think that they have their best intention for you in mind. So don't take ever anything personal. I mean, sometimes it is personal, but don't start with like whenever they give you a note, don't think like, oh, he's criticizing me. He is the director, he or she is criticizing the performance, and that maybe what you're doing is not the best for the vision that he or she has in mind. So it's always good to ask, like, okay, what do you want me to accomplish with this? What do you want my character to accomplish with this scene or with this dialogue or with this song? And that's, I think, is gonna open a better dialogue when this happens. But unless it's a clear disrespect to your talent or your personal whatever.
You
No.
know, I remember some exercise for the kids. Well, since I'm Peruvian, we always said, "Oh, what's your favorite food?" And that's how these kids started relating. Like, explain me why I would like to eat your favorite food. And that exercise actually helped a lot of kids. I remember something as simple as that, like just making them feel comfortable in their comfort zone, and they started talking and developing. I'm talking about this because I feel like when I met you, right, you had such a good vibe, such a good energy, and just the way you project your voice, yeah, just the way you project your voice was like, oh, I can be friends with this guy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, yeah. I don't know. Like that, I did not. Of course, I'm not. I'm not going out of my way to have like a scary voice for people. But I'm just because I am enjoying being there. Because I enjoy saying hi to fans. I enjoy the same things you like. You know, I'm a fan of My Hero, so I love talking about My Hero, and I love when someone is like, "Oh, I love the show," and I start talking about the show as well. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, and you're also very supportive of your community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so do you have any other voice actors that you follow? Like, what's the name of this guy again? Your teacher, I always forget.
I have many. So Oh, the one I just mentioned?
Yes.
Oh, Beto Castillo.
Yeah, Beto Castillo. He's very popular and famous.
Oh, absolutely.
So how you know, or if anybody who wants to enter in this industry, how you know who to follow or who you connect with?
Interesting question, because I had this question before, and people are always like, "Who do you take classes with?" And beyond me telling you who did I take classes with, it's who is better for your development, and do your research on who does what and who is the best at doing what, and follow that. Because when I started with well, Beto's not my first acting teacher; he's my singing teacher. My acting teacher is Hector Zabaleta. May he rest in peace. He passed away. And yeah, it's because maybe I also took classes with Humberto Vélez, the voice of Homer Simpson in Spanish. Some people don't like him as a teacher. I'm okay. I love him because he's direct and to the point, and I'm okay with that. But there are some people that are like, oh, he's very rude. I'm like, I don't think he's rude, but okay.
He is maybe disciplined.
He is very strict. He is very strict.
But I still don't believe he's like kidding you.
No, that's what I'm saying. That maybe for some people that is a little much, and that doesn't mean that he's a bad teacher. That it's just that you don't like it. That's it.
You know what? When I was a kid, I was dancing a national dance, and they actually use sticks. So
for
it's just that you have to carry a very heavy skirt, and if your skirt goes below your shoulders, and you have to be dancing and rehearsing for 3 hours per day. So imagine that.
That's a little bit on the abusive side. Again, I
believe that's discipline.
I'm not condoning the abuse, but discipline is discipline, and sometimes it's needed. And I think we need a lot of discipline lately, because you see it all the time on the streets, the disrespect happening to everybody, and that starts at home.
What about you mentioned the fans. Do you remember the first time you were in a booth and fans started coming? Who was your first fan, or who was the first person to ask you for a signature pic or anything?
It was not in a booth.
Oh, where was it?
I was not even in doing a big character in voiceover yet. I was in the pre-room for an audition.
Oh.
And it was a show for Nickelodeon.
Oh, nice.
And I had already done a couple of things, and I had this kid that was sitting next to me, and he started talking to me, and he was like, "Oh, what have you been in?" I was like, "Oh, I've been in this and this and that." And he just went like, "Can I have your autograph?" And I have a picture of that. I have a picture of the first autograph that I gave him.
Oh my God, that's so nice. Now my question is, have you practiced how to sign? Because sometimes also nowadays with AI and everything, people sometimes copy your signature. So now you have a special signature.
Well, I do something that I didn't realize it was so different until I moved to the United States. I write in cursive. And in Latin America, it's very common to write.
Yeah.
Not here.
I'm a girl. I went to Catholic school, so basically you train to write.
Write in cursive.
Here's not common?
No.
I don't know.
Not anymore. It's not as common as to write in cursive.
That's interesting.
So my signature is in cursive. So good luck. And interestingly, I came up with that signature when I was in 4th grade.
Oh, nice.
Because I would look at since we were studying like different historical documents.
Yeah.
And I would see the signature. I'm like, I want one like that. That looks cool. So I made up my own, and it's been the same since I'm, I don't know, 11, 12. Yeah, I always had that.
And now that you go to more events and to meet more fans, what do the fans tell you about your job? Because I feel like fans, maybe they know more of yourself than sometimes you know yourself.
Well, sometimes people even go like, I didn't know it had a Spanish dub. And they start watching it. And I have some people who I've met in conventions, and they message me later like, "Oh, I started watching it in Spanish. I love this voice, and I love this other voice, and I love how you guys translated this." And because that's another thing, the adaptation, because it's not just translate directly. It has to go through an adaptation process.
Yes.
To make sure that the meaning is not lost. So I love how you guys adapted this, and I love this that you gave this character in this. But like for example, Shoji in Spanish, I think that was a brilliant. Not take what's the word I'm looking for? A brilliant direction from Roms. Well, when we started doing Shoji, we didn't know his backstory. We're gonna get to that later. But if you hear Shoji in Japanese, it's just a regular voice, same as in English. Like they did a voice match. When I asked him like, "Hey, how do you want him to sound?" He was like, "No, I want Batman." So Shoji suena así. Quiero ser un héroe. And that's very different from Japanese and English. And when you see his backstory, when he's telling you his backstory with that voice, it's something completely different.
You know,
I'm not saying it's better. I'm saying that it's
different.
It's another take that it gives another layer to the character.
It happens to me that when I watch now as an adult Disney movies, I am watching it with my husband who doesn't speak Spanish at all. So I have to watch them in English, and I kind of suffer. Because I always tell him, I don't feel the same feeling, like the same connection, when they... Maybe because Latins, we are very... I don't know how to say the word. It could be passion to talk, but, we talk and express a lot. And I feel, as you said, the other ones are more regular, more neutral, for me, in levels,
I mean, that could also have to do with the acting techniques. We're more used to novelas. And we are a little more, I would say, passionate about things. And theater theories like Uta Hagen or Meissner, Meissner is more for movies, but they're more like in the internal side of the character. Like everything has to be very internalized, and we're more of the on the outside.
You do castings in English, Spanish, so do you feel that difference, or that the directors or producers ask you for that difference?
Yeah, absolutely. There's just differences in the energy levels.
Yeah, for example, give us an example.
I did this villain for Mekamato, I think the show is called. It's for Cartoon Network. And it's a robot, and he has a bunch of different villains. I was one of the villains. Very happy. Thank you, Khalil. Khalil Moody from The Kitchen. He cast me on that. And he's an animatronic. Okay. And so he sounds like, wait, how does it go? No, that was too low. I just want to show you, kids, that this is the real face of Mercamato. And if I were to do that in Spanish, it would have to be like a lot more exaggerated. It would have to be like, y aquí les quiero enseñar, niños, la verdadera cara de Mercamato. I don't know. It's just a style.
Yeah, right?
It's how it is.
Have it ever happened to you that any director say, okay, give us what you got? Like, they didn't give you any direction and they just wanted to see you right on scene?
Yeah.
And how does it feel?
It gives you a lot of freedom, which can be good and bad. Because maybe they'll see something and they're like, I didn't think of that. Thank you. Yes, that's what I want. Or they'll be like, that's exactly what I don't want. And then you're toast. But it definitely gives you a lot of freedom to create. And it doesn't mean that you're not talented if you portray something that they don't want. Like, that's something that I tell people all the time. 90% of the casting has nothing to do with your talent or with you. That's just 10%. Like, it's just many things. Like,
and also you said that, for example, when you did the Harry Potter stuff, you feel that this is part of your training, right?
I mean,
for your own self.
Yeah, at that point I was already doing in the professional side. So yeah, it was training to keep myself keep getting better because practice makes you better each time.
I feel like it's like watching on a mirror, right? The more you do it, the more you.
And now that I'm editing it, I'm like, ooh, I said that word wrong. Oh, I could improve this. Oh, I can say this better. And I can see also the journey from the first book. Now I'm editing the fifth book, so I can see the whole difference of pronunciation and a lot of things.
I was going to ask you that how you feel in your own journey of how you started and how you are right now, like talking, for example, about accents, your diversity of accents that you can say, or the pronunciation, which is very important as well. Because, for example, in this year that I have been doing interviews, you know who has given me more thumbs down than the rest of the world?
Ooh.
Peruvians for my
Really?
accent. Yes, and I have to say I'm very proud to have a Latin accent, and I'm very proud
Wow.
to have my Peruvian accent inside that Latin accent, inside that word that speaks English, because I'm very proud of who I am as Peruvian.
Right.
I have to say that. But I do feel that sometimes people have to understand that the market of voices in general comes with a lot of, again, accents. Meanwhile, the pronunciation has to be the proper one,
Right.
but comes inside the accent that you're pronouncing it. And that gives you actually a beautiful tool, and that is a beautiful treasure that we finally call voice.
Right. Absolutely.
How do you feel about
That's a difficult subject because accents are part of your identity.
Yeah.
And your identity is also your nationality, is also the place where you grew up. There's many layers to your own identity. And here I like to refer to what Hector Zabaleta used to say about actors. Actors are from nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where were you born? Nowhere. Because your job as an actor is to represent the character as closely as possible. That means that if the character is Peruvian, he's got to have some Peruvianisms on
flavor?
Yeah, absolutely. Or even if you're not Peruvian, you are supposed to research.
Yeah. And it's funny because, to be honest, for example, when I was working in retail, my first job here, I have met Peruvians in the market, and the limeño accent, because finally I'm from Lima, is so snobby, and
It happens. That sometimes you go out of. Like,
I don't want that accent, because at the same time, if you go to Peru, people make fun of that accent, which is funny. So when that people, because we even have like characters in some shows that try to speak Spanglish, and they do it with the typical
The
limeño
limeño.
accent.
Yeah.
It's so snobby, and even my friends at retail said, "Oh, those are Peruvians, right? Yeah, they're from Lima. Yeah, oh, you get with them because just the voice. It sounds so snobby that I don't."
And it's something that you don't realize until you go outside of it.
Yeah. I feel I mean I have so many accents, and generally my tone of voice, particularly since I live in other places, is so mixed.
Yeah.
So mixed.
And especially here in Miami, that you hear accents from everywhere, you start picking up
Yeah.
all kinds of nuances.
And how you deal with that? Because sometimes I feel like, for example, I won't say contaminate, but I was introduced, or I live in Argentina, but I had some words from Argentina or some expressions, but I also studied in Argentina with a lot of Venezuelans. So I speak a little bit of Venezuelan and Colombian at the same time, mixed with this. I'm from Lima, so if you hear me talking Spanish like in a regular daily basis, I will speak Uruguayan, Argentinian, Colombian, Venezuelan, Peruvian, basically. Those main five, but I have a mix of everything.
How do I deal with that? Well, it's difficult because, like you said, it sometimes just slides in, because since you're into this mixture of hearing everybody's accents, you just gotta catch yourself. Once you catch yourself doing it, you're like, oh, I'm doing this. Because catching yourself is the first step to correcting it. Okay, well, how would this sound with what we call the neutral accent? Like, how would this sound in the neutral accent? And then you practice it. At least that's what I do.
How long have you been practicing neutral accent?
Since like 2013.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's why I just started using it. Like, I only speak in Cuban. to like my family or people who met me in my teenage years.
And Cuban in general, they have a very strong accent. So how
Oh, yeah.
how is in your ship? You turn it off and
I
on?
have no clue how that works. I just know that I do the switch, and just with my family, because I always said that I don't like doing the switch, because I think that I admire the people who do it. I know people who are amazing at it, like Luis Carreño, like Judith Noguera. They're amazing at it, but I couldn't do it. So I decided to like go full neutral for everybody. But with my family, it's not the same. So
It's funny because now I'm thinking about it. Well, since I'm at home just with my husband, or even I admire people like Chris, not my Chris, this Chris, that can speak Spanish, English, Spanish in one sentence and actually makes sense and it's logics.
that's called Spanglish, and it's there's a whole
Yeah.
area of study in academia about it, and because of the syntax. And here at the University of Miami, they have a course specifically designed for those people.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because the people who have grown around Spanglish, it's not. They need another kind of development to develop Spanish as its own language, rather than someone who has never, from, for example, Minnesota, who has never in their lives heard Spanish. So it's two different classes.
Now that you have developed beautiful characters, you have these amazing people who is actually following your lead. Do you feel they do recognize your voice everywhere? Like,
Sometimes,
Yeah?
sometimes because they have. We did this special in South Park, the vaccination special,
okay.
and I did a bunch of little characters here and there, and I was like high pitch, low pitch, and I got one fan asking me like, "Are you this voice?" And I'm like, "Yes, that's actually me." And, I thought I heard something. I'm like, "Okay, yeah," and they, especially when the characters are not close to like my regular voice, some people are actually like already picking it up on when it's me, and it's lovely because I'm like, yes, that's me. I love being recognized. I mean, I love when they recognize the work. And but where was I going with this?
Well, actually, that the people can recognize your voice.
Yes, it's I don't know. It's as rewarding when they recognize it as when they don't recognize it, because when that means two things: that they are loving your work with your voice, and number two, that they surprised that that's your voice. You can do that.
I was going to say number 3, they might be a stalker.
No, it's okay.
You know, I told you this, and I think I also printed it on my Instagram when I said, oh, there might be a possibility to have an interview again with this guy. There were 2 girls, remember, that actually wrote to me like, yeah, have it again. I was like, okay, great, he's giving me more fun.
Hi.
It's amazing how this, well, I don't remember the name of the singer, but I know it was a Mexican singer from the 60s or 70s that said, I think it was Jose Feliciano. I don't know if you know him.
I know him.
Feliciano was Mexican or Cuban?
I think it was Mexican.
Okay.
Don't quote us on that.
Yeah, please. And he said something like, you know, women can be actually fall in love just with the boys, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's something very beautiful to say because, as you were saying, also always the training is going to get you somewhere. So now you also, I think, train with other kids, right? Like you train people or you help people prepare?
Not that I know. No.
No, when you have these conversations in Twitch and
Oh no! It's just that some people in my Twitch they ask like, oh, what can I do to like fill the service? I give an advice. I'm like, well, I'm not a professional
Yeah.
to take advice from. I mean, not a professional therapist to take advice from, but I would do this. Like, no, it's not like I'm teaching kids.
well, I
I'm
think just the thing of being a helper to others or give them the time to listen to them. Again, because many of these kids, I don't know, it happens to you when you go to these Florida cons, super cons, whatever cons. these kids sometimes are very shy.
Right.
And they need to raise up their voices. So I think when you do this to help them, at least giving a hint, is more than enough, especially for somebody who is in this industry.
Gotcha. Well, I always say that we should try to be a positive force in our environment, whatever that is. So I do the Twitch streams to share with the fans like the games I love. Like for example, we're doing Kingdom Hearts, and I know Kingdom Hearts is huge. But that's why I'm like we're going to go through Kingdom Hearts one at a time, so you can understand the whole story. So we're all going on this journey together, and then throughout the streams, like we talk, and then yes. So in that sense, sure, I guess I'm teaching somehow.
It's just that I feel like that because when people connect with you, I know. Well, for me, you're a professional already.
Thank you.
Because the fact that this kid comes to you and you give them the time, or even listen to them and what they need to just start, even if it's small steps, that's good enough to make them realize, hey, they can move on with their lives, you know? And how you pick also, for example, how you pick Harry Potter in the first instance?
Well, Harry Potter because I love the franchise. I'm not gonna get into the J.K. Rowling. That's a whole other topic. But I grew up with the franchise and I love it. And I'm like, well, this is a book that I love. I would love to share it with you guys. That came up with one of the streams. I was like, would you guys be interested in reading Harry Potter with me? And everybody was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, let's do this. So we started doing it, and we just set up. All right, so Tuesdays we're doing this. Okay, so everybody on Tuesday knew that.
And you
was
give
Harry
your
Potter.
time, especially every Tuesday, to do it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We read like 3 chapters per section or so, depending on how long they were. 2, 3, maybe 4 if they were short.
And now with Kingdom Hearts, kind of the same thing at Twitch? Kingdom Hearts?
Oh well, yeah, Kingdom Hearts, but it's not. You can see what's happening.
Okay.
It's not the same, because in the book it was you could see me reading the book, and then I would just like talk about this. Oh yeah, this didn't happen in the movie. It's not.
So that's a way to connect also with your fans.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. And in this time that, well, you have this connection, do they give you any feedback? Do they also help
Absolutely.
you?
Absolutely. For example, in one of the books, I gave one of the characters a Cuban accent.
I was going to say, have you ever tried a Cuban accent?
Yeah, it was the perfect character for it, because he's a character that speaks, like, different. In the original books, he has a Cockney accent.
Oh.
Which is like it's an accent in England, and I was like, this is the perfect guy to give the Cuban accent. So I gave you the Cuban accent. And I have also feedback of like, oh, I really like this character's voice. Or like for Fenrir Greyback, which is a character that comes out in the 6th book, I did the Venom. Like I gave him the Venom voice. Like,
Oh my God.
and people were like, why do the villains have the best voices? I'm like, well, he's a werewolf. What do you want? And also other people who are like, oh, I love the contrast of listening to Dumbledore like sounding like an old man, and then Harry sounding a little younger.
How you control that? How and which was your most difficult character to perform so far in voice acting?
All of them are difficult because they all come with their own challenges. But I know what you're saying. Like sometimes the voice is not that far from your natural voice, so it's not as a stretch. But I would say, are we allowed to curse? Because I am, what's his name? Mr. Hanky from South Park.
Okay.
I did Mr. Hanky for the latest video game of South Park.
Nice.
That was a challenge. That was because he's very high pitched, and I had to be saying a lot of not great things, and I would crack, like my voice would crack. I mean, as we were doing like 2-3 hours, they'd be like, "Yeah, let's stop for today," because the vocal cords were like, "We can't do this anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
We're good."
How you take care of your voice? Because I feel also that when you
Vocal rest.
what vocal rest means.
Shut up. Vocal rest means to shut up.
So you're telling me that after working, you come back to your home with all your family, and nobody talks to you, or you're like,
If you have to, like, if you're going to do Broadway, that's it. You do your show, and if you have another show the next day, you need to do vocal rest.
oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. It's your voice is your vocal cords are a muscle. They need rest, and a good night of sleep helps so much. Like you have no clue. Like right now, I'm congested because I got rain on, and I'm a little congested, and my vocal cords are doing extra work right now.
Now comes to my attention something. We live in a world in Florida of AC.
Right.
AC helps or it doesn't help at all? Because I feel like it dries
It
your
depends on you.
voice.
Like really depends on the person. Depends if you're allergic, asthmatic. That's not. Nah, I don't know. Great question.
It's just that I feel, for example, if I try to play with my voice, I know I'm not a professional. I think I'm not doing it well, but suddenly I feel like my vocal cords get dry very easily here.
Well, yeah. That depends on the environment too. But like you were saying something before the air conditioner. I was gonna say something about, but
Florida?
no, Florida. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Staying hydrated helps a lot too, because they get dry. Because your vocal cords, they're muscles. They're not cords. They're more like they're muscles. So when you talk or sing, they go like this, and so they get tired and dry. And
Interesting.
That's why you should always hydrate them.
And have you ever been have you ever been sick and you had to go to record to the studio?
Yeah.
And how you solve it?
Well, luckily, sometimes it will help you for the character. But when you sound too different, you just gotta reschedule it.
Oh.
Yeah, or they get someone else.
Well,
to
you
talk
say the character today had a hangover. So.
about. No, you cannot. You can't say that, especially not in an anime. Yeah, it's you just gotta be really careful because what happens if, for example, you get the call for a new character and
Yeah.
then you're like, I cannot do it today. Well, today was the only day. Sorry.
What's the main thing about animes that are so different from any other cartoons?
Well, it's a level. We're talking before levels of energy.
Yes.
The level of energy involved to do anime is different because it also depends on the genre of the anime because the shonen seinen or all this kind of stuff. But what's different about this is that there's many different things, but the energy to do anime it has to be really high because it's very intense. It's very intense all the time. Even if the character is not intense, the intensity that you need for anime is higher than any other animated show.
I feel like because it's Oriental culture, as you said, some characters are very boss, but as soon as something happens, it goes from 0 to 10.
Yeah,
And you have to be prepared for that, right?
absolutely.
And when you generally record, you also express with your body, or you just do everything with the voice? Because that depends a lot on the person. How is
No, it should not depend on the person. That it's a whole body thing. Yeah. If you like, I rather record standing up because that way I feel I'm using all my tools. There are people who prefer to record sitting down. Cool. I feel that your best performances have to be standing up, because also your vocal tract, I think. I guess I don't know the name of it in English. Your vocal tract is also elongated when you're standing up, and that's why singers don't sing sitting down, and that's how you're able to use more power of your voice. But yes, you have to involve your whole body. That doesn't mean that you're gonna be but you gotta use the energy throughout your whole body. You have to stand at a certain distance from the microphone and take care of a lot of technical things. But yes, you should be using your whole body. It's not just reading or talking to the mic. It's acting. It's called voice acting for a reason. That's why when a lot of people ask me like, what should I do to start in voice acting? Study acting. If you can do theater, even better. Study acting, study acting, study acting. Because it's voice acting. It's that's not the word. Specialization is not a word. It's a specialty inside of acting. Like you're an actor first, and then you're a voice actor.
I was going to say, how long it took you to come from an actor to a voice actor, or having that turning point?
Well, for me, I was training with Hector Zabaleta for like 5, 6 years, and then I started doing a little bit of acting. And I think it's not a point for like it's different for everybody. Like this road is different for everybody. There's some people who have a knack for it,
Yeah.
and I'm not able to pinpoint an exact point in time where like, oh, I'm a voice actor now. Because I was interested in voice acting since since before I started with studying acting with Hector, but it's something that came up along the way. So
I like to talk about times because I feel, since I know there were some kids who are going to hear us, nowadays people think that everything is like social media. You just press a button and boom, happens.
yeah, no,
And this is not like that.
no, definitely not.
What would you tell to those kids when, if they really want to approach to this world?
Well, it takes a lot of years. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of discipline. Some people are lucky, but luck runs out. Either way, luck runs out. Discipline will always beat luck and talent.
And also, as you said, you actually train every day or almost every day.
Yeah.
So imagine that for the next 5, 6 years of your life, if you want to commit with this, at least, because also I always tell people, my blog coming from Peru took me like 10 years to set up. So it's not a journey of months. It's actually a journey that you have to pursue every day and actually study for it.
Oh yeah.
And that's something very lovely, because I understand completely. As, for example, you come from Cuba, I come from another country, and come to this market. What was the most challenging part of coming to this market that you feel different?
To the voiceover market.
Yeah, voiceover, acting in general, as a performer,
Well,
let's say.
there's many challenges because there's always gonna be people who are there before you,
Yes.
like who have been acting since before, and that's always an edge that you have. If you started acting as a kid, you already have an edge over the people who started later. So that's a challenge, but it's also there are roles for everybody. So I wouldn't call it a challenge per se. I would just say that those people just have more experience, more contacts, more chances because people already know them. But that doesn't mean that the chances for you are any less. You know.
Yeah, and it happened ever to you that you say, oh, maybe this is not for me? Do you ever doubt that? Or you are that kind of person that says, okay, I will just think about what I did before, learn from it, and keep going?
You always doubt yourself. I think an actor always has some point at their career that they're like, I don't know about this.
What I'm doing with my life.
Yeah. In those times, it's important to remember where you're coming from, how long you rode up until that point, like how many challenges you have rose up to or like have conquered up until that point, and then I know it sounds a little Disney, if you may, but like just believe that your chances gonna happen at some point. Of course, do not sit at home being like, "Oh yes, my chances will come."
Come see.
No, keep doing your work and believe that the chance will show up.
It happened to you that you were able to go to the cast of My Hero Academy. Do you remember how was that? What were you doing? How you received the call and what happened during the cast?
Yeah, well, yeah. I was coming out of recording something else at the studio, at the kitchen, and they were like, "Hey, don't leave because Roms wants to talk to you." I was like, "Who's Roms?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Romulo Bernal. He's the director of Anime." I'm like, "Oh, wow, cool. Okay, I'll just wait." So I just went to wait, and then he like introduced himself, like, "Hi, how are you? My name's Romulo Bernal." And so we're doing an anime. I don't know if you ever heard of My Hero Academia. I was already a fan. Inside I was like, yes, I know this show. And I'm like, yes, I know the show. I'm like, well, do you know this character called Aizawa?
I love your inside part. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you gotta be a little professional. You know?
Keep it professional.
Yeah. And then he was like, do you know a character called Aizawa? Yes, I know the character. Well, I want you to play this character. I'm like, okay. I have to finish recording with the other talent that I'm with right now, and then I'll come pick you up. Okay.
How long did you wait?
I don't know. 15, 20 minutes. I just knew I was freaking out because I'm like, you're telling me that I'm going to be ISO for Latin America, and then I have to be intimidating to all these people who have already been doing it, blah, 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 a bunch of things happening at the same time. So then he comes back, he's like, all right, let's go. I get into the elevator, and he's like, let me introduce you to Orlando Noguera. He's going to be All Might. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to breathe. Because it's not just that he's going to be playing All Might. It's that it's Orlando Noguera. He's a legend. And I'm just really like casually meeting him. And from there on, we just got into the booth and we're like, all right, so listen to the character, how he sounds. I already knew, like, I had already seen like the 3 seasons that were out at the time. And I'm like, I got this. And I have always thought of Aizawa as a mixture of Kakashi Sensei and Piccolo from Dragon Ball. Which makes sense, you know, they're both teachers, they're both stern in their own way. So I'm like, yeah, and then took everything else from the character, like, he's very depressed. Like, some people are like, oh, he's always tired. Like, no, he's depressed. Being tired and being depressed are 2 different things. And we took that and then tried a couple of voices, and then what came out is that you hear in the show.
And do you remember telling your family?
No. I do not tell my family any about this. Only my mom. My mom is the only one who knows. And I told her when it came out.
I was going to say, I feel like even if I tell my family now, hey, I'm recording not 1, 2 podcasts in United States, and blah, blah, good for you, honey, good for you.
I mean, at least they say good for you. My family on my dad's side, they don't like it. They don't like this at all.
Why?
They're just not our people.
Oh, I totally get you. It happens to me too. My family, it's all into management, which I also do from here. I also go the nights and work backwards home, do my emails and everything. And that's something else. Actually, I feel like many kids in many places around the world can connect with us. That maybe, and I understand why parents do that. You know.
Yeah, I get it.
I totally get it, but I'm from the 90s in Peru, and if you want to listen to that part of the story, please read books, because I understand why they told me that you can't live being an actress ever.
Right.
And that was the situation in my country, and unfortunately it's a little bit nowadays because there is a lot of still traveling with the acting people, even the ones who do some TVs or, you know, so operas or series. And I understand why parents could be like that, but do you feel that is a thing that actually gives you motivation to pursue your dreams? Because that's the way I see it. Like, I was a rebel, you know, studying acting, reading, doing more art, not doing drugs, that actually
Valid.
Yeah, like the rebel part of me was actually doing more art.
There you go. Well, for me, it's not as much as rebelling as like, all right, you don't like that I do that, I do like it, so I'd rather not tell you.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have an opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's it. I just rather not have that energy of like, oh, what are you doing with your life, blah blah blah. Blah.
Yeah, it's better
that's
to also connect your energy with somebody you can share it with, and actually goes it rise up, you know. And for you, that's how you feel with the community. That's why also you connect and share, and you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What do you like the most about the community of voiceover actors?
Oh, I love that we are such a supportive community. Like, yes, I love that when we get together, we are just like, we're being fans with each other. Like, I met the cast of The Last Airbender in English, and I grew up watching it in Spanish, but still, they're the voices of the show in English. And I met them, and they were so friendly. Like, and I was asking questions about the characters, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, whatever question you have." And I also met Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy, and he was also like super welcoming. And so I love that about this industry. Like, they don't know you, they just met you, but they're like, "What do you want to know? What? Just ask me."
And they give tips to each other, and I feel like
Yes, all the time, which is something you don't see as much in the acting community.
yeah, it's true.
In the just acting community, it's not as common. You have, don't get me wrong, we have our divas as well in voice acting, but they're not as common. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like because actually maybe you don't show your right to face, you don't. You have to actually fight with your voice and to your voice to be heard. That's why, as you said, there are not many divas.
Maybe that's why.
You know?
I don't know.
How you keep yourself like now after all these journeys? How you keep yourself like real on your food? Who makes you feel that way? Like again, for example, if I go to stay at home, I said, "Oh, I record just," and my husband will be like, "Okay, honey, let's work." Okay, that keeps me real. Like never make something, or I don't know. Even if I record some plot or something, never had that moment where somebody makes me feel important. So that always makes me real. What keeps you real nowadays?
Well, I always tell tell this to people that what keeps me real is remembering my origins, like where am I coming from, Wh- where would I be if I hadn't decided to start on this journey and to push against the grain for this journey. That's what keeps me real. And at the end of the day, it's not who. It's not the. It's not about recognition. Of if it's great when you're recognized, but it's about sharing something.
And what do you feel you're sharing every time you have these activities with your fans or doing a voiceover?
I feel like I'm sharing, in this case, the show. I'm sharing a character that they love, that I have the privilege. Because voicing a character, that's something that a lot of people don't realize, that voicing a character is a privilege and responsibility. So you should treat it as so. So to me, it's a privilege that I am that connector to that character. Like, you're the voice of that character, so you are um, the the real, if you may, equivalent of that character. So we're sharing that connection to the character, because even if you're the representation of that character, you are not. The character is a character, which is something that I also picked up from Disney. For them,
Oh,
there's only one Mickey Mouse.
oh
He
yeah.
has many friends that help him. Um, I'm blanking out on the word now. Share the magic.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of friends that help Mickey
Being
share
Mickey,
the magic,
yeah.
but there's only one Mickey.
Uh-huh.
You know, you cannot say, "Oh, I am." No, you say, "I'm friends with Mickey Mouse."
Oh.
You know, and I feel it's the same thing. Like, yeah, you say, "Oh, I'm the voice of Aizawa," but like I feel like I'm more like I'm friends with Aizawa. You know, so I am that connector.
Oh, that's very nice to say.
So that's what I'm sharing. I'm sharing the character with the Spanish voice with the community.
One final statement. For you, what's coming next, and what do you want to do for those projects to actually motivate other kids to follow these dreams?
Remember, it's not about recognition. It's about sharing something and act. For me, acting was about giving someone those 5 minutes, those 25 minutes, 25 1 minute of forgetting about your reality, whatever it was. That was why I became an actor, because that was what made me feel safe back in the day when I needed it. I look for a refuge in songs, in movies, blah blah blah, and I realized that there were people who do this, which are actors, and to me, actors are such an important part of society, and people don't understand that. Like a show, a comic, artists in general, we are what keeps society from madness. So do it from the heart. Do it to deliver something that's going to connect with someone out there.
Let me tell you something because I totally understand those words. The other day I was asking myself what I keep pushing to be an actress after 35 years. And I realized, as you said, it's never for the fame. Because if I wanted the fame, you can get the fame other ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they are very easy ways,
Ooh.
Unfortunately. And I remember when I was a little kid in the nursery that I had my first performances in front 200, 100 people, as a kid, just for the family of of my other classmates. And because I remember actually the situation we were living in those times. Thankfully, my parents never hide anything from the reality, even though it was a nightmare for some people. Thankfully, I was very grateful that it never really hit on me. But I knew the reality of my country. And I felt like, for some reason, when you are on the stage, as you said, you make everybody forget. Yeah. And when you receive those laughs, when you receive those smiles and that positive energy, that's what I wanted to do with acting. So people actually forget about their stuff, all their problems, and just be happy or think about it and get involved in this magic,
Or sad.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be positive. Sorry, not a positive. No, it doesn't have to be the happiness what you're portraying. You could be portraying a tragedy, and people are like Titanic.
Yeah.
Every single time you watch Titanic, you cry, even though you know the ending. But, I mean, you cry because of Leo, but...
Nah, I don't like it.
I mean, not you. I'm saying people... because he passes away. But what I'm saying is that you see Rose suffering at the end of the movie, trying to whistle, and you're suffering with her, but she's the old lady. So you're going through that journey. For those 5 minutes, you're like, you forget your reality.
I totally understand that. At the same time, I must confess that I hated Rose my whole life because I watched Titanic when I was 7. And I've thought he was very selfish. He could get on that boat.
Well, yeah.
But I totally get your point, actually. So
There's some people who have made the calculations, the physical calculations of density of water, and
I was 7 years old. I mean, I shouldn't have watched Titanic at those times, but still, I was like, that girl is mean. Well, that's what happens, I think that that's why I always said we connect since the day one, because I feel like we understand both journeys. Even it's the first time we actually talk about it, and it's beautiful to talk about it and to share it, because that life experiences is what give us this journey that we are enjoying right now. So thank you so much for being here.
No,
Seriously,
you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
It's really been a pleasure. And here will appear the social media. But if you want to tell us, please, all your social media channels.
Well, you can find me anywhere. Yes, Ernesto Rumbaut, the same thing, except X, that is Ernesto D. Rumbaut. And no, it's not because of One Piece. Because everybody asks me, is the D because of One Piece? I'm like, no, that's my middle name.
What's your middle name?
Daniel.
Daniel. No, but Daniel.
Daniel, yeah.
Ernesto Daniel Rumbaut.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, and X is ED Rumbaut.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody, for hearing us. Remember, we are here at Flynn's studio in Margate. Come and visit us. Also, we are open for booking if you want to have your own studio with all the cameras or the lights, everything you want for voiceover or for casting. So, and more, everything you can create here is all for you, for all our community. So, thank you so much.
Wait.
Have a great night.